Dear Dr. Ruth, I tried to discuss attachment styles with my partner because I hoped it would help our relationship. He fixated on the word attachment due to his spiritual beliefs that emphasize detachment. As you might guess, he is the more avoidant one in the relationship. And I feel his reaction reflects some emotional immaturity. But I'm concerned that if I point this out to him, he's going to feel like I'm dismissive of his spiritual practices. Can you help? So first of all, thank you to the viewer who asked this question. It's a really important question and it reflects an issue that a lot of people face in their relationships. And I do think that there are some helpful strategies that can be game-changing for this kind of conflict and for your relationship. But before we dive in any further, just a quick reminder that I don't know you or your partner, so the suggestions I make in this video are going to be based on general principles and may or may not be directly relevant to your situation. So please feel free to take what resonates and leave anything that doesn't, and to use your own wisdom in considering how best to apply this to your particular relationship. And do share your experiences and suggestions in the comments. One possibility is that you and your partner are talking past each other. It's common for partners to come from different spiritual, cultural, or philosophical backgrounds. And while these differences can enrich relationships, they can also create misunderstandings. I also wonder if you may be approaching the conversation with your partner from your own vulnerability. You said that he has a more avoidant style, which makes me wonder whether you have a more anxious style or if there's something in this relationship that leaves you feeling especially uncertain. If you are experiencing a lot of anxiety about this relationship, if you fear that your partner wants more distance from you or that he's not emotionally available to you, this is very likely to color your perception of what he's saying when he talks about detachment. So an important first step might be to get really curious about what's going on inside of you during these conversations with your partner. When he emphasizes detachment, does it activate fears for you that perhaps he's not as committed to you as you would like him to be, perhaps he's not as emotionally available as you need him to be, that he's trying to keep you at a distance? And how does this anxiety impact how you show up in these conversations? Does it drive you to seek more closeness, to ask for reassurance, to maybe explain to him why detachment can be a bad thing, why he needs attachment and emotional closeness and intimacy? Do you find yourself drawn into arguments, trying to make your case more strongly and getting more and more anxious and upset? On the flip side, your partner also has vulnerabilities that he will bring to this conversation. You suggested that he may have a more avoidant attachment style, so I would be very curious about what your talk of attachment means to him. Does it activate fears that he can never be enough for you, that you're going to be extremely needy and demanding of him, that you want to restrict him or hold him back or hamper his freedom and his independence? If this is the case, he's likely to get defensive or withdraw, or to make the case even more strongly that you need more detachment. The two of you could be feeding this conflict, inadvertently driving each other into more polarized and entrenched positions, driven by each of your insecurities. If this is the case, you are no longer discussing attachment theory and spirituality. You're in a fight for dear life for the thing that you most need in your relationship. Perhaps closeness for you and independence for him. The good news is that this cycle can be broken. First of all, recognize that the more vulnerable part of you that's anxious about getting your needs met in the relationship is not the part of you that can have this conversation. You need to find a way to have this conversation with him that isn't driven primarily by your vulnerability and your anxiety. I want you to imagine yourself as a healthy, calm, and sturdy grown-up who is committed to you, who is capable of looking after your emotional needs, who can and will make wise decisions about your relationships. This part of you can show up with confident curiosity rather than anxiety. You're not approaching this to get reassurance from your partner, to see if he's available to you, to see if he's going to meet your needs, to see if he's committed to you. Rather, you're just going to be curious and interested in what he has to say. I'd also suggest that you free yourself from needing to find agreement with your partner, needing to convince him of your point of view, even from finding compromise and resolution. You can make space for different perspectives in your relationship, and disagreement is not necessarily a threat to your connection. At this stage, make your only goal to understand and empathize with your partner's perspective. And by empathy, I simply mean putting yourself in your partner's shoes and understanding his perspective. It doesn't mean you have to agree with him. It doesn't mean you have to like what he thinks. It just means you're trying to understand him. I'd also suggest that this is not going to be one conversation. It's not one big talk about the future of your relationship that puts way too much pressure on you and on him. It is extremely helpful if you can lower the stakes in these conversations. These are not about saving your relationship. There's no pressure to agree with each other, to find common ground or a solution or a compromise. You just want to understand each other better over time in light, natural, friendly conversations. You really want to create an environment that doesn't feel like an inquisition, where neither you nor he feel like one wrong or insensitive comment is going to create a massive argument, that someone's going to get really upset or threaten to leave or stop speaking to each other. You just want to be interested and curious about where the other one is coming from, even and especially if it's very different from you. If you can manage to create that very open, warm, friendly context, then ask him what he sees detachment as being. What does he mean by it? How does he think it would benefit him? What does he think detachment would look like in your relationship? And what benefits does he imagine it would bring to you? And I want you to see if you can be really open to what he has to say and the possibility that what he calls detachment isn't the distancing and the emotional unavailability or the lack of commitment that you might be fearing. He might see detachment as a way to support both of your freedoms and your independence. He may view detachment as a way of being flexible and better able to cope with the challenges of life because you're not so attached to one particular outcome or things going in a particular way. This is where you really need to listen from a place of confident curiosity rather than anxiety. And if he does emphasize freedom and distance and independence in relationships, see if you can understand his particular vulnerabilities and why he values independence. Has he had experiences of important people in his life being overwhelming, overbearing, overly demanding, or restricting his freedom? As you understand and appreciate that, your more healthy, grown-up adult self can start to soothe your own anxiety, to reassure yourself that his emphasis on detachment isn't an emphasis on coldness or distance or indifference from you. By understanding him better, you may be able to communicate with him in ways that allay his fears that you might be trying to change him or restrict him or control him. It is very easy to get polarized and entrenched in these kinds of conversations. Each of you may feel the need to defend your position and may actually get even more extreme and polarized in the way that you put it across. So the more you emphasize attachment, closeness, connection, the more he may emphasize detachment, freedom, and independence. And the more he emphasizes detachment, freedom, and independence, the more you're driven to emphasize closeness, connection, and attachment. In essence, you're both driving the other one to get more and more extreme. Now, the very fact that he is in a relationship with you suggests to me that there is at least a part of him that values relationship and connection. And the fact that you're willing to understand him and to think about this conflict differently suggests to me that you have a willingness and an openness towards difference and separateness in your relationships. So rather than joining that dynamic, see if you can change it by offering appreciation to him, of something he's aiming to do through his emphasis on detachment, something he imagines that is going to give you and your relationship. That appreciation can actually free him from the need to defend detachment and separateness. That might actually create space for him to be able to get closer to you. My hope is that this approach will help you develop more empathy, more appreciation, and a better connection with each other. It is not going to be possible to have a healthy and fulfilling relationship if only one person is bringing an awareness of their vulnerabilities, empathizing with their partner, and showing appreciation of where they come from. Of course, this needs to be a reciprocal process. My hope is that you can start it and that your partner will respond in kind. This process can strengthen and build connection in a couple, but it is also possible that you may discover some fundamental differences between you and your partner's values in your relationship, and you may decide to reconsider the long-term future of your relationship. And if that is the case, I hope you're able to approach that wisely, kindly, and as peacefully as possible for you and for your partner. I've also assumed that your partner's approach to spirituality is broadly a positive and healthy thing. Spirituality, like anything else, can be used in ways that are harmful to relationships. So if you want to know more about that, check out this video right here.